My wife really is a man, like all these people say. Maybe her name is Big Mike, and maybe she does have a huge dick. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Just go out and vote for Kamala, even if she's retarded. Okay, we already got Joe out of the way. Just vote for Kamala so we can win this thing, and we'll figure it out. Okay?
Something ain't right.
We put this festival on you bastards with a lot of love. We worked for 1 year for you pigs. Oh, you want to break our walls now? Oh, you want to destroy it? Well, you go to hell.
Night 3 of Real Deal Media's Election 24 coverage. Yes, it is. Good evening, everybody. This is the one, the only Dean Ryan joining you here tonight on this very weird Sunday evening. Yes, I am. As we're trying to get to the bottom of this race to the so-called White House, which feels like a race to the meat grinder because there's so much disinformation that we really should have our own fact checkers because so much information is coming out. Intel, speculation, accusations. Virtually the kitchen sink is being thrown at Donald Trump and the people who are not going along with the most incredible CGI presidential candidate since Joe Biden. And I'm talking about Kamala Harris. Yes, I am. And you heard the cold opening there. Barack Obama, although it might not have been his true words per se, but it's exactly what he was meaning, and it's exactly what we're hearing. So we're just trying to do the translation that translators don't do. But we're going to be getting to some of the most recent updated headlines here. And joining me for this venture here tonight for our Night 3 coverage here at Real Deal Media's election headquarters is the one and only and the greatest political analyst probably north, south, and west of the Mississippi, the one, the only Jim Fetzer. Jim, welcome.
Dean, I love that little intro with Barack. You got it exactly right. That's who the guy really is. That's what he really means. You nailed it.
Can you believe he would say that? It's so insulting. I feel so bad for Michelle. Anyways, but Jim, where are we right now? Are we feeling, if you had to put your finger on the pulse of Americans right now, how would you describe the morale, the anxiety? What is the country feeling like now from your American perspective?
Well, there's tremendous anxiety on the one side and elation and enthusiasm on the other, and you can tell which is which. I think at this point, Trump might get 70% of the vote. I think that's not out of sight. I think he might even carry New York State. I think he's going to have a landslide. Even Dick Morris is saying the same thing. It's going to be a huge victory. And the Democrats are already figuring out how they can pass responsibility onto Kamala for being more forthcoming. Because after all, Fred Lutz, who's a brilliant pollster, explained Kamala's not connecting because she can't explain what she got into office. So she got to have a little bit for her first hour in office, A, B, C, D, and she couldn't even do that. He said she's just a complete failure as a candidate, and there's no doubt about it. She is. That's because of this deeper persona there, which is vacuous, empty, a shell. a phony, a fraud, and a political whore.
Well, yes. Enough about Barack Obama. Let's get to Kamala Harris now. As many people know, when they hear the word whore, they think of so many of the Democrats, certainly Obama's of the ulcer. But Jim, just real quick, because we're going to get to a few headlines, get your take on it. Plus, you sent me some incredible stories. Before we get started, I have to ask, because I'd be remiss if I didn't, if we were told that the cognitive decline of Joe Biden is at play, and that's why Kamala Harris was installed, well, then my question and everybody's question should be, who the hell is running the United States right now?
That's right. Well, it's Barack Obama and Bibi Netanyahu, somewhere divided between the two. George Soros, don't leave him out. So somewhere between George Soros, Barack Obama with regard to domestic politics, and Bibi regarding foreign policy, you've got the triumvirate that are running America today.
Yes, we do. But here's what we're going to do in the meanwhile. As time is a waste and we got a long way to go and an extremely short time to get there, we're going to get to some of the most incredible, uplifting headlines. And I got to even get Jim's take on the college conspiracy, plus some major news coming out of international criminal courts. But stand by, Jim, as we now enter the realm of real deal politics. It's real deal politics, night 3, and everything is slow as molasses. Is it over yet? Are we there yet? Great questions. And where's that time machine? Because I can't take it anymore, and I already missed the 80s. Don't you? Well, here's what's happening now. This is coming out of national news. Liberals are now panicked that controversial government censorship agencies could be on the chopping block if Trump wins the election. Oh, yes, indeed. And believe me, I got my Cristal champagne the day that happens, and drinks on me and maybe Jim too. He might have to have the bill with me. But the Department of State Global Engagement Center is now focused on, quote, combating foreign disinformation because it's just so painful, but is often used as a way to censor Americans' political speech and silence conservatives and pretty much anybody who's slightly right of Mao Zedong or Joseph Stalin at this point. Well, with the center's congressional authorization about to expire at the end of the year, some of the Democrats are panicking like little babies at the prospect that it could be a shutdown entirely. While the founder of Global Engagement Center is now former Obama staffer, yes, you guessed it, Rick Steingel, who once described himself as a, quote, propaganda artiste for the former president. He said on the record that he thinks that the First Amendment needs to be modified to allow, quote, hate speech to be censored in the digital age. Mr. Steingel, who's putting us in a stangle, well, he's also behind a controversial propaganda campaign known as the Hamilton 68, which sought to smear any views that went against the political establishment as, quote, Russian disinformation, claiming that legitimate American accounts that use hashtags such as Schumer shutdown, fire McMaster, were Russian bots without any evidence to support it. The initiative was exposed as a scam, and so here we are, and that's how we got where we are today, and they're panicking, many have said. Now, here's a significant change and a plot twist to the plot twisting of all twists. Well, I reported to you that Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton was stripped away, or the attempt to strip away his power to prosecute election fraud was at hand and on the chopping block itself. Well, get this now, sticking with natural news. Well, Texas AG Ken Paxton has opened a criminal investigation into Dominion voting systems for potential election-related crimes with a capital K. That's right. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has now formally opened this criminal investigation to the electronic voting technology company Dominion Voting Systems. Gee, finally. Well, Dominion Voting System has been long considered the controversial choice for voting, period. Makes no sense, many have said. Well, this election cycle, machines will be used by 27 states, including Puerto Rico, including some of the largest counties in the United States. Well, its ongoing use, despite the controversial past, has now raised concerns, especially in Texas and Michigan. Well, in the latter state, the sheriff's office over there at Berry County said it has been referring suspected electoral crimes to AG Paxton over there in Texas. That's right. Well, here's a little quote. The Berry County Sheriff's Office is now ongoing investigation to election-related crimes since December 2020. Oh, yeah. Statement further noted that the requests for these things have been answered, and Paxton's office has now formally opened its little hatchet into the Dominion voting systems now, and further developing of the story is now underway. Jim, let's just bring you in here because I'm afraid, I mean, usually we don't hear these kind of things this late in the game. Is it too late, too little, too late? Or is this a big step in the right direction, Jim?
Oh, it's a big step in the right direction, Dean. It should have been done years ago, of course, following the 2020. It was so obvious Dominion was designed to steal elections. They even have a part of the Dominion machine where they can put a new ballot. So if they need more ballots and they can change the vote, I mean, these are all-purpose election theft mechanisms, and they can be hacked in a matter of minutes. So they're completely unreliable, untrustworthy. And in fact, it turns out the machines used in the past were never even certified. So they weren't properly legally being used because they had not been certified to be accurate machines. And they went ahead and stole election after election nonetheless.
They have. Now, a lot of people are saying too, what polls are the best? What polls should people trust? And, you know, for a lot of people, it's been hard to trust any poll since 2016. But I want to show you what Jim Fetzer sent me just a moment. This is the most accurate, they're saying, the most accurate poll now shows last-minute swing states are at surge for who, you might ask? Well, let's find out, shall we? Because this is one of the most pressing evolving questions of the political season. Now we'll get this 2020's most accurate poll now shows last minute swing state surge for Trump. Yes, on Tuesday. This is according to the New York Post. Now, former president is now leading Kamala Harris now. Where? In the following: North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. He is now leading in these polls. +6. Here it is. Jim, let's talk about this because this is a big development, is it not?
No, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. Now, he was actually leading in most of those states anyhow, but this is further confirmation. I mean, this is splendid. And there's no way, for example, Kamala can win if she doesn't have Wisconsin, which has made Wisconsin, my home state, among the most contested. We've had Trump here in Milwaukee. We had Tulsa just 10 minutes north. We had Tulsa and RFK. We had Trump up in Green Bay with Brett Favre. This has been a wild ride. We've had Kamala here. I mean, but I'm telling you, I think the people of Wisconsin are going to do the right thing, and that Trump will carry Wisconsin as he will all the other swing states. This is how it now appears.
So there you have it. Major developments in the polls. That's something you're not going to hear on the CIA News Network. That's for sure. You're not going to hear that at all. Here's some other things too. We'll come back to Jim because this is some developing things here now. Harris Biden regime fails to send absentee ballots to military personnel. Are you aware of this? If not, it's quite disgraceful just for starters, but let me tell you about it because the military is, which part of the military are we talking about? Is it the corporate woke military, and who's running it? And are they still American citizens? These are just the little questions we have to ask ourselves because we know what Schumer and the rest of them are trying to do. They're trying to literally stack the courts to allow these people to get citizenship. Anyways, let's continue here, shall we, with a little bit of more of the Night 3 coverage. But let me tell you about this. So yes, the Harris-Biden regime now, as I was sharing with you, are not sending absentee ballots to military personnel all over the globe who are continuing the imperialism. For them, you think they would get at least a little tidbit of respect. Well, why? Because military members vote overwhelmingly Republican. Well, there's the answer, isn't it? Well, the Democrats are registering overseas or residents to register and vote in elections without proper identification, but the military members were denied their right to vote. Democrats are registering illegals to vote, but those fighting and dying for the country seem to be getting robbed of the most basic right. Well, here's a little quote. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have mobilized federal manpower, resources, tax dollars to block state-level election integrity measures, including Georgia, Virginia, through lawsuits, lawfare, smears, and propaganda. A military veteran told Fox News he hasn't even received his ballot yet. Jim, as a former Marine and current Marine, I guess you're always a Marine. How disgraceful is this? And is the military going to be now swayed to completely disobey any orders from this rogue regime?
It's entirely possible that'll be a consequence. This is perhaps the single most contemptible act of the Biden-Harris administration. They have lost the military in a single stroke. Everyone in the military fights for their comrades and for their country, but it's because we're defending the Constitution and the right of the people to vote. This was a calamitous decision. It was monumental stupidity. And now you got every member of the military holding Biden-Harris, and would you believe Bill Clinton said, well, they don't have time to vote. They are now held in contempt by every member of the military, except for the woke heads like Lloyd, Austin, who are going to be held in similar contempt. This is stunning, Dean. I cannot begin to tell you the effect this is going to have on the military. They are going to be unified against the Democrats for stealing their right to vote. It is stunning.
That is never before we've seen such hostility towards a occupying force in all these different countries. Is this something?
Because they vote Republican, Dean. You got it exactly right. This is trying to craft the election to fit a predetermined outcome, and it's fundamentally undemocratic, and everyone can see it. I guarantee you. Every family of every member of our military is going to be outraged, as am I. I cannot begin to tell you the incomparable stupidity of doing this. They thought they could count on the military to manipulate the American people. They even changed the law to allow American soldier to fire on American. Ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. I guarantee you. This is an outrage.
No. It truly is an outrage. It is an outrage, Jim. And there might be some major blowback from not just families of the military, but actually the people who support the military themselves. No doubt about it. I do have some major developments here, Jim, and then I want to cross overseas to tell you about some of the latest happenings in Israel. But check this out as we kind of round our way and sunset our way to the finish line here for night 3. Well, let's continue now as there's some major developments, which really explains a lot of the panic that's setting in, a lot of the F word as in fascism just being around and just grabbing people's imagination. As there we have it. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so here's some major developments now I can share with you. That is now announcements. National Guard troops are on standby in Washington State, Oregon, Nevada, as precaution for potential election unrest. Well, here's something interesting. Department of Homeland Security has announced they'll be running a cybersecurity attack drill election day. Drill election day when the attack is happening right now.
Yes or no?
Those videos, are we not? But wait, there's more. There's certainly more. Well, get this now. In addition to that, there's another announcement that is now feeling it's just becoming more and more real by the second. RFK Jr. has just announced today that fluoride will be removed from all drinking water in the United States. Do you know how big that is? Yes, he did. Here's the statement. On January 20th, the Trump White House will advise the U.S. water systems, that's right, the U.S. water systems, to remove all fluoride from public water. Fluoride is an industrial waste associated with arthritis, bone fractures, bone cancer, IQ loss, neurodevelopment disorders and thyroid disease and just plain stupidity. President Trump, First Lady Melania Trump want to make America healthy again, including myself, and people are just going off the rails. Jim, are we going to be just able to drink water from the hose again outside like we did as kids? I mean, this is a beautiful thing to hear. I could cry right now.
Yeah. Bringing Bobby joining Trump was a sensational development. Make America healthy again. This is one of the ways you can do it. Get the fluoride out, cut down on the vaccines, chop up big pharma, hold them responsible. This is wonderful. Wonderful. America
I
is
think so too. Yeah, yes, it is, Jim. And not to mention, people who are probably going to hate this too is the Dentist Association of America, who just love fluoride because it rots your teeth and it gives them money to do root canals, which, you know, could give you cancer if you really look into it out there. But Jim, things are getting really weird, as you know. Look at this. This just came out. I think somebody's on a bender.
Part of the thing that I'm trying to help people, not who are here, obviously, not the leaders who are here, but others understand, is if you're trying to kind of figure out what the stakes are, just imagine the Oval Office, we've all seen it on TV, and just imagine on January 20th.
She's drunk, Dean. She's stinking drunk. She's a lush. She's a cokehead. And there she is. See, she doesn't have the nerve to get up there and do these performances without a high. She needs that extra stimulus. That is grotesque and disgusting. And I'm telling you, that's liquor. That's not Coke.
Oh yeah, if it was Coke, she'd be a bit more sober. And I think it's a mutual feeling, Jim. I think a lot of people have to be liquored up and not more to handle her. Indeed. Okay, so, you know, in addition to this, Jim,
that single video would be sufficient to knock her out of the race. If this were normal times, you'd never see anyone as incompetent, as stupid as Kamala Harris on a ticket for a major party. But these aren't normal times.
These are not normal times for sure. Oh, you know, real quick here, Jim, where are we with the whole Israel debacle right now? Last we heard that Netanyahu was trying to garnish up support as some kind of effort to then invade Iran. We heard that Spain said no to this, of supplying more weapons. Next day, they got bombarded by weather weapons. There's floods all over Spain right now. So where are we in the Israeli conflict? Because that involves us if they can't get the job done to get rid of Trump.
I think there's a point at which Israel is going to be wiped from the map. I think it's going to come. This is all too obvious. Spain declined, so they hit them with weather warfare. Give me a break. This is disgusting beyond belief. But the U.S. is moving a lot of heavy equipment, including B-52s, to the Middle East in anticipation that Iran may strike after the Israeli hit, which was relatively negligible. And if that happens, all bets are off. Russia will not allow Iran to go down, I guarantee. And if the U.S. is dumb enough to get involved, this is one of the great statements of J.D. Vance of last. He said, the United States does not have an interest in going to war with Iran. And he was clearly speaking for Donald Trump when he said it.
That's true. Jim, we have a major update right now. I didn't share it with you before we started. I'm going to play the clip right now. This is straight from the International Criminal Court, and things seem to be getting really serious. I don't think they're joking around anymore, Jim. Check this out regarding Israel, and this is huge.
Palestine, for justice and for international law. Israel's occupation has been declared unlawful by the World Court, which has stipulated that it must be terminated completely and as rapidly as possible. The court also found that illegal Israeli occupation violates the UN Charter, human rights, and international humanitarian law. The court further unequivocally declared that all Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory are illegal and must be dismantled, and that all Israeli settlers must be evacuated. The court declared that Israeli but eviscerates the Palestinian people's right to self-determination in their own land, including the right to their own state. This ruling couldn't be more timely or sorely needed. The Palestinian people have endured unbearable suffering and injustice for decades. This ruling is a vindication of their steadfastness and perseverance. This right must no longer be denied or deferred. The court made clear that the Palestinian people are the only sovereign in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, and that the international community is under an obligation not just to reaffirm the Palestinian people's right to self-determination, but to see to it that this right is implemented immediately. All states and the UN are now under obligation not to recognize the legality of Israel's presence in the occupied Palestinian territory.
Oh, that is magnificent, Dean. This is a calamity for Israel. They're going to be furious with Netanyahu. He might even be strung up from a lamppost. This is the worst possible outcome for Israel, absent its physical annihilation, which may not be long in coming. Because now, essentially, the International Court has authorized other nations to act on behalf of the Palestinians and expel the occupiers. This is a fabulous development. It's morally right and it's legally correct, and I applaud it.
Yeah, well, things like these kind of happen all the time. Look, Bombay became Mumbai. Hong Kong went back into China, then it was under British colony. We see a lot of these happen through a short period of history. It's just a regime change of sorts. I kind of see it that way. I think they want a peaceful neighbor and trade partner, but there's a lot of illegal activity. This is a criminal, illegitimate, rogue government running Israel and America and the West right into the meat slaughter. I can see that for sure. Okay, so here's what, Jim, we just have a little bit of time. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to focus on questions, comments, and concerns real quick. And then, Jim, I want to get your take on the new announcement about the college industrial complex from Donald Trump, because, you were a professor for 30 years. So I love to get your perspective, Jim. So here we go.
County.
Oh. I stand corrected. Anyways, you're watching night 3 of Real Deal Media's election night 3 coverage here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this quick message. Stand by.
After a long, demanding day, you deserve the best. No judgment, no stress. Shower, veil, relax, curve on.
Where's Terry Lake actually on CNN?
Did you lose the 2022 election for governor? Why are we looking backward? I'm looking forward, Caitlin.
Because
I
you've
already
yet
know
to
what you're
concede that race.
Well, I want to make sure our elections are run properly, and I'm still in litigation, so I don't want to speak to that.
You don't want to call a woman an asshole, but I'll make an exception in this case. That woman is an asshole. And Kerry's just magnificent. She was beat up. The election was stolen from her. And we all know it. This is a typical Democrat hacks. There's a perfect example of a Democrat hack. And you can send her this video so she knows I said it.
Welcome back, everybody. And Jim, we did send that video. And I'll tell you later. Anyways, welcome back, everybody. I'm still Dean Ryan, who's cruising with you just a little longer here tonight as we're trying to get to the bottom of night 3, the coverage here of Real Deal Media's just incredible historical election for 2024 as we race into the future. And we're still waiting for everything we were promised. We can taste it. We can just smell it. Jim, this next segment here, and before we get our final thoughts here, a lot of people cannot even afford a home anymore. They can't afford the common basic necessities of everyday life, 2 jobs, let alone going to college. People can't afford to go to these universities. And some of these professors, especially in Illinois, they retire at $100,000 a year pension for life. This is unsustainable, not to mention the communist indoctrinationship that happens at universities and all the CCP professors. Is there reform at hand? I mean, how do we keep our country educated that's low IQ, but this monstrosity of the university system is out of control? Have you ever noticed this before?
Oh, I think you're right, Dean, but it's got a whole lot to do, too, with the wokeism and political correctness that when it began creeping into the campus where I was faculty, I foresaw it was going to have devastating effects on freedom of speech and therefore the right to think things through and get hypotheses and theories and guesses out into the public domain where you can kick them around and determine the difference between the true and the false. It's all been a propaganda effort, and the universities have to reaffirm their original intent of creating new knowledge, conveying old knowledge, and developing each individual's research and critical thinking abilities.
Well, Jim, I have another gift for you for our little Tupperware party here. I didn't show you this before. We played it last night. It's worth playing again because it gives a lot of people some hope. Check this out, Jim. I want your take on this afterwards, and then more comments and questions after.
Under the plan I'm announcing today, we will take the billions and billions of dollars that we will collect by taxing, fining, and suing excessively large private university endowments. And we will then use that money to endow a new institution called the American Academy. Its mission will be to make a truly world-class education available to every American, free of charge, and do it without adding a single dime to the federal debt. This institution will gather an entire universe of the highest quality educational content covering the full spectrum of human knowledge and skills and make that material available to every American citizen online for free. Whether you want lectures or ancient histories or an introduction to financial accounting or training in a skilled trade, the goal will be to deliver it and get it done properly using study groups, mentors, industry partnerships, and the latest breakthrough in computing. This will be a truly top-tier education option for the people. It will be strictly non-political, and there will be no wokeness or jihadism allowed. None of that's going to be allowed. Most importantly, the American Academy will compete directly with the existing and very costly 4-year university system by granting students degree credentials that the U.S. government and all federal contractors will henceforth recognize. The Academy will award the full and complete equivalent of a bachelor's degree. In addition, to help the 40 million Americans who have some college education but no degree, the American Academy will grant credit for past coursework at legacy institutions and give you the chance to complete your education at the American Academy for free and much more quickly than is now possible or available. This will be a revolution in higher education and will provide life-changing opportunities for tens of millions of our citizens. Enjoy it, learn from it, and thank you.
Talk about this, Jim. This is a big development, and this would change the entire country, would it not? What are your thoughts, Jim Fetzer? Professor Fetzer, I guess.
It's fabulous, Dean. I actually offered a course in critical thinking where I tied it in with conspiracy theories. You might as well make it interesting. Kids would love to know about JFK, 9/11, moon landing. So I blended it with a course in critical thinking. I would love to contribute to this program, this American Academy. I could make contributions, Dean. So
yes, you could.
And this is absolutely fantastic. I love it.
Jim,
now, what you have to do is ensure that the individuals who are receiving the degrees are the individuals who've taken the courses and passed the exams and all that. So there are going to be ways of having to ensure the integrity of the system. But it's a great idea. Brilliant.
I think
real
so.
Leadership. We're getting this real leadership from Donald Trump, something we haven't had in America for quite some time.
You also blend your teaching with karate, too. Let's not forget you're a karate master as well. Let's not forget that, just to add to your repertoire. Jim, here we have a few comments, questions, and concerns before we get the H out of here. We have MDSPT64 said, Dean, I came here from Facebook to watch the glitching's bad over there. Yeah, I almost had to cancel the show. I couldn't even get on tonight, just to let you know out there. We have Aaron Cates, Toronto's favorite son, saying Jim Fetzer for president. Jim, is it too late to run for you, or is that too late to get on the ballot? Aaron, I'll ask. I'll see what I can do.
That's very kind of you. Very kind.
I'll see what I can do, Aaron. No promises. We have Rumble Mania 1. Trump is like winning the lottery. Yes. And MDSC says, Jim, you're awesome. I concur. I agree to that. Karate and conspiracy. What a fusion, Jim. Okay, here's another one here. We have Mickey saying President Trump is the man that recovers values and morals for the American people. We have Nancy Hardwick saying thank you both. We have the Egyptian princess says, wow, that is amazing. Yes, it is. Mary Gangloff says he is amazing. Yes, Jim is. I agree on that one. Okay, and we have Lisa Haswell saying, World Court, blah, 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 blah. Netanyahu, hold my beer. What beer would that be, Lisa? That's a real question there. Here's Kevin Mooring saying, is he a real, Jim, I can't even read any. He controls all of them, even Putin today. Putin endorsed Trump.
Putin today endorsed Trump. That's fascinating.
Okay, yes. Very good. Let me thank you very much. Mary Gangloff said exactly, Jim. We have Kevin Mooring saying RFK bring back beef oil to McDonald's. I think McDonald's is changing. I think it was very symbolic that Trump was at McDonald's because from what I'm hearing, there's a major change coming to our fast foods, not just the fluoride.
Well, look, with RFK in there, man, wielding an axe, it's going to happen. I mean, this is one of the great mergers of all time, RFK and DJT.
Well, it's right up there with Fetzer Ryan. It's one of those mergers. It's just incredible. Just incredible, Jim. Finally, we have Cindy Jankowicz saying Trump will lead, keep the family values intact. Globalists don't want that. And finally, Robin Barone Skopinski says only we can prevent communism. I love that. I love that phrase. Okay. Final weird story of the night here, Jim. I just kind of teased it to you before we started here, but a lot of the miracle jabbed, a lot of the zombie apocalypse. It seems to be all happening now. We're in the Toxic Avenger horror movie with just hilarity, just moments and levels of it. Well, this is now happening in Florida. After an accident took place, you could put two and two together of what this guy did, who's a zombie with a severed leg. Check this out.
Hey,
Jim, you're
Woodward.
muted. Go ahead, say that again, Jim. You were muted. Did you happen to see what we just saw there?
Well, they fuzzed out the leg, but was it a candy leg or was it a real leg, Dean? This is pretty bizarre.
Great question. Glad you asked, Jim, because a lot of people may not know it is illegal to not only take pictures and distribute photos of dismemberment ligaments from humans. You can't even show it on television. It's illegal, so you have to blur it out. That was a leg from somebody on a motorcycle accident, which goes to show you, everybody. The reason I'm showing this is because we have lobotomized zombies, products of the underground, products of Big Pharma, walking around literally eating not turkey legs, but, human legs at this point. Yeah, this is happening. This is the kind of Mad Max, Road Warrior. Okay. All right, here we go. This is it here. Final thoughts. Final thoughts here for the night. Okay. Thank you very much. You understand the meaning of just holiness. Jim, final thought here as we sail into night 4, the final normal day before the world changes this coming Tuesday. Final thought, Jim Fetzer.
Well, we're talking about some very positive developments. Trump taking all 7 swing states. The International Court of Justice ruling Israel is not legally entitled to Palestine. It belongs to the Palestinians. Even this idea of the American Academy, I love it, Dean. Let all of this come to pass.
Yes, indeed. My final thought, I concur a lot with Jim. And how great would that be if Jim and myself go back to school? It'd be like back to school with Rodney Dangerfield, don't you think? Maybe that's something we'll do, but depending if we get drafted or not. Anyways, night 3 over here. We're going to be back tomorrow night's coverage because just these kinds of announcements from RFK, getting the fluoride, we're talking about narratives, topics, buzzwords that a lot of people have never heard before in their life. A lot of people don't pay attention. They're saying, wait, fluoride's bad? Wait a minute, it's in our water? We shouldn't be drinking it? This is a huge awakening right now for not just the United States, not just North America, but the entire world. Because, Jim, as you know, and I know, and everybody else, the world is watching America right now and trying to find out which way we're going to go for a historical election. So this is history. Okay, we're going to be out of here. I'll be back tomorrow night. We might have a surprise guest from prison calling in, one of the J6 people. I'll let you know more about that. We're trying to connect it. It's a huge ordeal because these guys need to get pardoned immediately. And then we need to go after the people that put them in there. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I'll be back tomorrow night. Maybe we'll have Jim and maybe Aaron and some others just fill in. So for Jim Fetzer, for Aaron Cates, I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you for sharing a bit of your night with all of us here at Real Deal Media as we just waltz with you into the future. Until next time, always remember to stay tuned, stay awake, and take no shit from these people.